Hey, Master Rico and Chalk, please. What pillow am I going to do on stream? I think... I think Vortex would probably be the first one that I choose. Vortex or Stardust. I think Vortex would be the most consistent of the two. They're both basically the same thing, you just found one enemy. Hey, Speedy Carnegie and Ghost. Vortex is the green one? Yeah, it's like a teal color. But yeah, last stream we finished the Cultist, which was a hell of an endeavor. And at this point, we just have the Pillars and the Moonlord left, and we have not started on the Pillars at all. Now, the first step is just getting down the Pillar shields. Vortex is off to the left there, close to a pylon, so that's good. The issue with the pillars is they float in mid-air, and as a result, we may need to use falling stars to kill them. I'm going to try to avoid having falling stars do the bulk of the killing. They may inadvertently hit some stuff, but I'm not going to set things up in a way that encourages falling stars. Hey, Moth. So, I'm gonna go get, set my bed up there. I don't need this golem fist anymore. That was for getting the cultist back after the game crashed. Yeah, let's go set our bed up there. And the awkward thing is, I'm going to take the pillars out of the range, or rather the enemies out of the range of the pillars, which means we'll have to build a spot that's safe from floaty growths, which could be mildly annoying. I don't know what that means, Ghost. That's probably live streams to one vid. I'm going to edit it into a single vid, yeah. I mean, it's not going to be one, like, 100-hour long video. I don't know if that's what you're implying, but... hey, Collision. I want to pull a queen or a hornet. That's a queen. Pull you over here. This is a good location. I like this spot. This has the hit below me, so I don't have to worry about flying enemies. I need to trap the queen now. If I take an extendo grip, I should hopefully be able to just... There we go. Come on, come back. Come on. Come on. Actually, hold on. I could just... No, come on. Get down here. Come on. How do I do this? If I had a builder potion, this should be a lot easier. I don't, unfortunately. What if I just encourage her to come all the way down here? This is basically the ideal situation. What's going on with this queen right now? I just need to manage to block her in here. It's easier said than done. Let me stick a bed here. I'm going to do the whole Moonlord fight. The pillars are just very boring, so... I'm probably not going to do all of that on stream. Okay. Yeah, we're going to set a spawn point, so, more space here. Why no bench? Maybe bigger? It needs to be slightly bigger. There we go. I don't think how many each pillar will take. I have no idea. You know, let me just... It's gonna be tough to get the alien queen back to this spot. If we go, if I... do something like this. Come down here. Come down here. Come down here. And I really need to just get a builder potion. Get down here. Is that going to change how you move, hopefully? Maybe it's not wide enough? That's not the issue. It's the way that her AI works. I might have better luck trapping her like this. Hopefully she doesn't run off and she's gonna run off and despawn. Okay, whatever. We'll just go get a builder potion. Okay, no, she's back. Okay, now I can actually trap her properly. Right, get up here. I think this did it. Okay. We have the queen stuck. I'd like to bring the queen out of this. Or rather, I want the other things out of here so I can isolate the queen. Which shouldn't actually be too tough, I don't think. Because I think all of these enemies will be able to fit in a hole like this. Yeah. Okay. This is slow, but we are isolating her. God, this floaty ghost is being a pain in the ass. All these things are being a pain in the ass. Okay. Storm Diver, get out. Okay. Appreciate if the floaty ghost fucked off too. Alright, see ya, ghost. Okay. That is what I wanted to do. The queen is now isolated. I'm going to set this up so that floaty ghosts can't get up here. I don't have to worry about dying, because, okay. We should be completely safe from everything now, I think. In order to do this, I think I'm... Why? 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 I'm just gonna go grab a builder potion. Because I need, like, one more block placement range to do this easily. Okay, get rid of... Put these dirt blocks away. Okay, let's go try that again. Check something real quick. How many hours do I reckon this? I have no idea. That's not something I can answer. Your guess is as good as mine. I have no frame of reference for how long this will take. Oh yeah, definitely hours. But as to how many hours, I have no idea. Could take 5, could take 40. I don't. I have no estimate. I haven't started it. Let's try this again. Okay, the builder potion makes a massive difference there. My least favorite stage of progression? The pillars. They're just bad. Okay. There's more than just the lawnmower, though. Yeah, you can't break blocks with the lawnmower. Okay. We're gonna kill this queen and then see what happens. And then, based on that, it's gonna determine how well things go. I finished Darkest Dungeon earlier today. That was... The final attack... Or the attack that the hurt has, where, like, you pick one of your heroes to die. I was really confused, because I thought the game just, like, soft-locked. I, like, restarted the game multiple times trying to fix it. Yeah, Darkest Dungeon was pretty fun. I picked up the DLC. I don't know how much... I feel like I want to play the game again with the DLC, but I don't know if I'd play it again past that. Because it was already getting pretty repetitive. I don't know who Morgan Ellis is. Oh. Thankfully, we deal peak DPS to the Alien Queen. Oh, hold on. I should, close off the top here. That'll make sure that we don't, get hit by any falling stars. Now, I don't think there's enough room for the Alien Queens to mature, rather the larva to mature properly. So I'm going to need to adjust this room to fit Alien Queens correctly. So we'll see how that goes. I think I'll probably read some more on stream today. And absolute worst case scenario, even if we just absolutely cannot find a way to lawnmower the pillar, it will eventually die to falling stars. So that's kind of the backup plan. This queen's about half dead. So, you know, absolute worst case scenario, it would take, you know, doing this 100 times. Can't you pillow up and just make some boxes to use the lawnmower? The problem is the pillow moves to float in the air. And I don't know if we'll be able to position the pillow properly to lawnmower it. Like, we might be able to, but I don't know. That remains to be seen. Yes, alien queens spawn larvae that matures into hornets, which mature into more queens. So, as long as they're properly trapped in a box, there'll just be this never-ending cycle of things spawning and then being able to be killed. Which basically leaves us in a situation where we can just AFK. Because floaty growths can't get us. There's no worms or anything that spawn up here. Rune wizards won't spawn this high up. And as long as they can't get us, then we can just sit there. And even if they can get us, kind of like starter cells, more annoying. Queens are more consistent in terms of not clipping through things. The thing with Stardust cells is Stardust cells clip through blocks and they're really annoying to trap. Whereas Queens and Larva don't do nearly as much clipping. But yeah, similar to the Stardust cells. Couldn't you have just used a bunch of flares to make the entity count be maxed out so the pillars get skipped? Well, one, we don't want to do that. Two, flares are not entities, flares are projectiles. The entity cap is a different thing. You would need to use other means to reach the entity cap. And three, I want to play the game. Then beach balls. Beach balls are also not entities. Beach balls are projectiles. Entity caps would be like spawning a bunch of servants of Cthulhu, spawning a bunch of bees, using Flying Dutchman to spawn a bunch of pirates. Those are not entities, those are projectiles. And I don't know if it was patched. I don't really keep up with that because I don't want to do that. That's neither fun, interesting, nor challenging. So no, I don't want to do that. If I wanted to skip the pillars, I could just attack them with a normal weapon. I could be using traps. I could use falling stars. There are plenty of things that I could do if I wanted to just trivialize or skip the pillars, but the whole point is to beat the game with a lawnmower. But I don't want to do that, because then we're just skipping the game. Okay, let's tear this place out. Larva matured into hornets. I think the hornets need more room to grow. Do they? Do they? They're starting to glow. Let's give them a sec. Yeah, they need more room. Okay. Let's give them some more room. Let's make some more space horizontally. I think that would be ideal. Maybe they need more space vertically. Let's give them another. Oh, no, they matured. Okay. Okay, let me, that one there is trapped. I'd rather she wasn't trapped. What if I just got rid of all of these? What if I changed my positioning to be up here instead? Now we get middle of the... middle of the air here. There we go. Okay. And now? I could read more Lovecraft. Let's automate this. First up, I'm going to turn down the music and in-game sounds. Ambient's fine. Slight sound of rushing water. Use item here. Here. Can I read Shadow out of time? Yeah, sure. Was I in the middle of a story or did I finish it? I don't remember. I'll put on some spooky music. Let me know if the... How's the music volume level compared to my voice? Loud? Quiet? Good? Yeah, I think there's still one that we didn't finish yet. This would be music level. Is this good level? Quiet level? Louder? How we doing? Slightly too loud? Okay, turn it down a little. A bit too loud. Okay, how's something like that? I turned it down a little bit. Is that good? Okay, what were we reading? I don't remember. I don't have it bookmarked. It was one of the longer ones. We read The Whisperer in Darkness. We read The Dunwich Horror. We read Shadow over Innsmouth. Did we finish all of them? Like, were we in the middle of reading something? Or did we finish it? I feel like we finished it. I don't think we're in the middle of anything. I don't, I think we finished all these. We can read A Shadow Out of Time, though. Page 1021. We were in the middle of the street. Okay. And we'll see the pace that this is going at. Okay. Put my mic a bit closer so I turn it down a little. The Shadow Out of Time. After 22 years of nightmare and terror, saved only by a desperate conviction of the mythical source of certain impressions, I am unwilling to vouch for the truth of that which I think I found in Western Australia on the night of July 17th to 18th, 1935. There is reason to hope that my experience was wholly or partly a hallucination, for which indeed abundant causes existed, and yet its realism was so hideous that I sometimes find hope impossible. If the thing did happen, then man must be prepared to accept notions of the cosmos and of his own place in the seething vortex of time, whose merest mention is paralyzing. He must, too, be placed on guard against a specific lurking peril which, though it will never engulf the whole race, may impose monstrous and unguessable horrors upon certain venturesome members of it. Hey, hamburgers. It is for this latter reason that I urge with all the force of my being a final abandonment of all attempts at unearthing those fragments of unknown primordial masonry which my expedition set out to investigate. Assuming that I was sane and awake, my experience on that night was such as has befallen no man before. It was, moreover, a frightful confirmation of all I had sought to dismiss as myth and dream. Mercifully, there was no proof, for in my fright I lost the awesome object which would, if real and brought out of that noxious abyss, have formed irrefutable evidence. When I came upon the horror, I was alone, and have up to now told no one about it. I could not stop others from digging in its direction, but chance and the shifting sand have so far saved them from finding it. Now I must formulate some definitive statement, not only for the sake of my own mental balance, but to warn such others as may read it seriously. These pages, much in whose earlier parts will be familiar to close readers of the general and scientific press, are written in the cabin of the ship that is bringing me home. I shall give them to my son, Professor Wingate Peasley of Miskatonic University, the only member of my family who stuck to me after my queer amnesia of long ago, and the man best informed on the inner facts of my case. Of all living persons, he is least likely to ridicule what I shall tell of that fateful night. I did not enlighten him orally before sailing, because I think he had better have the revelation in written form. Reading and rereading at leisure will leave him with a more convincing picture than my confused tongue could hope to convey. He can do as he thinks best with this account, shewing it with suitable comment to any quarters where it will be likely to accomplish good. It is for the sake of such readers as are unfamiliar with the earlier phases of my case that I am prefacing the revelation itself with a fairly ample summary of its background. I have no idea, I said meow. No idea. I don't have an estimate. For those of you that were struggling to keep along with what I was saying there, this is essentially a man, presumably an older fellow, seeing as he has a son who is a professor, presumably an adult. So this guy's got to be at least 40, 50, 60, somewhere in that age range would be my guess. And he uncovered something horrific within Australia. And in the hopes of common theme between several of these stories, preventing people from seeing the same thing that he saw, he's writing this story. My name is Nathaniel Wingate Peasley, and those who recall the newspaper tales of a generation back or the letters and articles in psychological journals 6 or 7 years ago will know who and what I am. The press was filled with the details of my strange amnesia in 1908 to 13, and much was made of the traditions of horror, madness, and witchcraft which lurked behind the ancient Massachusetts town then and now forming my place of residence. Yet I would have known Yet I would have it known that there is nothing whatever of the mad or sinister in my heredity in early life. This is a highly important fact in view of the shadow which fell so suddenly upon me from outside sources. It may be that centuries of dark brooding had given to crumbling, whisper-haunted Arkham a peculiar vulnerability as regards such shadows, though even this seems doubtful in the light of those other cases which I later came to study. But the chief point is that my own ancestry and background are altogether normal. What came from somewhere else, where I even now hesitate to assert in plain words. I am the son of Jonathan and Hannah Wingate Peasley, both of wholesome old Haverhill stock. I was born and reared in Haverhill, at the old homestead in Boardman Street near Golden Hill, and did not go to Outcome till I entered Miskatonic University at the age of 18. That was in 1889. After my graduation, I studied economics at Harvard and came back to Miskatonic as instructor of political economy in 1895. For 13 years more, my life ran smoothly and happily. I married Alice Keyser of Haverhill in 1896, and my 3 children, Robert K. Wingate and Hannah, were born in 1898, 1900, and 1903. Robert K., Wingate, and Hannah were born in 1898, 1900, and 1903, respectively. In 1898, I became an associate professor, and in 1902, a full professor. At no time had I the least interest in either occultism or abnormal psychology. So we had a pretty normal life before now. Hey, Bismarck. It was on Thursday, May 14th, 1908, that the queer amnesia came. The thing was quite sudden, though later I realized that certain brief, glimmering visions of several hours previous, chaotic visions which disturbed me greatly because they were so unprecedented, must have formed premonitory symptoms. I'm reading The Shadow Out of Time by H.P. Lovecraft, Sniper Monkey, while killing the pillows. My head was aching, and I had a singular feeling altogether new to me that someone else was trying to get possession of my thoughts. The collapse occurred at 10:20 a.m. while I was conducting a class in Political Economy 6, History and Present Tendencies of Economics, for juniors and a few sophomores. I began to see strange shapes before my eyes, and to feel that I was in a grotesque room other than my classroom. My thoughts and speech wandered from my subject, and the students saw that something was gravely amiss. Then I slumped down, unconscious in my chair, in a stupor from which no one could arouse me. Nor did my rightful faculties again look out upon the daylight of our normal world for 5 years, 4 months, and 13 days. It is, of course, from others that I have learned what followed. I showed no sign of consciousness for 16 and a half hours, though removed from my home at 27 Crane Street and given the best of medical attention. At 3 a.m. May 15th, my eyes opened and I began to speak, but before long the doctors in my family were thoroughly frightened by the trend of my expression and language. It was clear that I had no remembrance of my identity or of my past, though for some reason I seemed anxious to conceal this lack of knowledge. My eyes gazed strangely at the persons around me, and the flexions of my facial muscles were altogether unfamiliar. Even my speech seemed awkward and foreign. I used my vocal organs clumsily and gropingly, and my diction had a curiously stilted quality, as if I had laboriously learned the English language from books. The pronunciation was barbarously alien, while the idioms seemed to include both scraps of curious archaism and expressions of a wholly incomprehensible cast. Of the latter one in particular was very potently, even terrifiedly, recalled by the youngest of the physicians 20 years afterward. For at that late period such a phrase began to have an actual currency, first in England and then in the United States, and though of much complexity and indisputable newness, it reproduced in every least particular the mystifying words of the strange Arkham patient in 1908. So, during this mental breakdown, he began to utter strange things, simultaneously very archaic idioms and sayings, and some that 20 years later, those listening realized he had been speaking idioms from the future as well. And his entire speech was strange, stilted, inhuman, as if a foreign language speaker had learned English and was speaking it. Those very stilted mannerisms, the lack of correct inflections. The collapse occurred about 10:20 a.m. while I was conducting a class in Political Economy 6. Something like that. You know, very unemotional, stilted, very by-the-books pronunciations. Physical strength returned at once, although I required an odd amount of re-education in the use of my hands, legs, and bodily apparatus in general. Because of this and other handicaps inherent in the mnemonic lapse, I was, for some time, kept under strict medical care. When I saw that my attempts to conceal the lapse had failed, I admitted it openly, and became eager for information of all sorts. Indeed, it seemed to the doctors that I had lost interest in my proper personality as soon as I found the case of amnesia accepted as a natural thing. They noticed that my chief efforts were to master certain points in history, science, art, language, and folklore, some of them tremendously abstruse, and some childishly simple, which remained very oddly in many cases outside my consciousness. At the same time, they noticed I had an inexplicable command of many almost unknown sorts of knowledge, a command which I seemed to wish to hide rather than display. I would inadvertently refer, with casual assurance, to specific events in dim ages outside the range of accepted history, passing off such references as a jest when I saw the surprise they created. And I had a way of speaking of the future which 2 or 3 times caused actual fright. Why do I see flushed face emojis showing up in chat? Like, on the right-hand side, they're just, like, popping up. What? Yeah, that, but they're just, like, showing up there. Like... Hold on. You guys see this? What is going on? What? They're just there. Why are they there? What are they doing? It's a YouTube chat thing, but why is what? At least it's not face turquoise covering eyes. Okay. And I had a way of speaking of the future which 2 or 3 times caused actual fright. These uncanny flashes soon ceased to appear, though some observers laid their vanishment more to a certain furtive caution on my part than to any waning of this strange knowledge behind them. Indeed, I seemed anomalously avid to absorb the speech, customs, and perspectives of the age around me, as if I were a studious traveler from a far, foreign land. As soon as permitted, I haunted the college library at all hours, and shortly began to arrange for those odd travels and special courses at American and European universities, which evoked so much comment during the next few years. I did not at any time suffer from a lack of learned contacts, for my case had a mild celebrity among the psychologists of the period. I was lectured upon as a typical example of secondary personality, even though I seemed to puzzle the lecturers now and then with some bizarre symptom or some queer trace of carefully veiled mockery. Of real friendliness, however, I encountered little. Something in my aspect and speech seemed to excite vague fears and aversions in everyone I met, as if I were a being infinitely removed from all that is normal and healthful. This idea of a black, hidden horror connected with incalculable gulfs of some sort of distance was oddly widespread and persistent. My own family formed no exception. From the moment of my strange waking, my wife had regarded me with extreme horror and loathing, vowing that I was some utter alien usurping the body of her husband. In 1910, she obtained a legal divorce, nor would she ever consent to see me even after my return to normalcy in 1913. That is a great reason for divorce. Just, convince, the judge and divorce lawyer that there's some utter alien usurping the body of your husband. Pretty easy way out. These feelings were shared by my elder son and my small daughter, neither of whom I have ever seen since. Only my second son, Wingate, seemed able to conquer the terror and repulsion which my change aroused. He indeed felt that I was a stranger, but though only 8 years old, held fast to a faith that my proper self would return. When it did return, he sought me out, and the courts gave me his custody. In succeeding years, he helped me with the studies to which I was driven, and today, at 35, he is a professor of psychology at Miskatonic. But I do not wonder at the horror I caused, for certainly the mind, voice, and facial expressions of the being that awakened on May 15th, 1908 were not those of Nathaniel Wingate Peasley. I will not attempt to tell much of my life from 1908 to 1913, since readers may glean all the outward essentials, as I loudly had to do, from files of old newspapers and scientific journals. I was given charge of my funds and spent them slowly and on the whole wisely, in travel and in study at various centers of learning. My travels, however, were singular in the extreme, involving long visits to remote and desolate places. In 1909, I spent a month in the Himalayas, and in 1911 aroused much attention through a camel trip into the unknown deserts of Arabia. What happened on those journeys I have never been able to learn. During the summer of 1912, I chartered a ship and sailed in the Arctic north of Spitsbergen, afterwards showing signs of disappointment. Later in that year, I spent weeks alone beyond the limits of previous or subsequent exploration in the vast limestone cavern system of Western Virginia, black labyrinths so complex that no retracing of my steps could even be considered. Interesting, because these locations, some of the ones he's mentioned, has shown up in Lovecraft's other stories. You know, the Himalayas were said to be where the Migo dwelled. Arabia was where the Nameless City was. We potentially have a slight issue here. These hornets are not properly evolving. Let me see if we can... There we go. I guess I just had to stop attacking for a sec. My sojourns at the university were marked by abnormally rapid assimilation, as if the secondary personality had an intelligence enormously superior to my own. I have found also that my rate of reading and solitary study was phenomenal. I could master every detail of a book merely by glancing over it as fast as I could turn the leaves, while my skill at interpreting complex figures in an instant was veritably awesome. At times there appeared almost ugly reports of my power to influence the thoughts and acts of others, though I seem to have taken care to minimize displays of this faculty. Other ugly reports concerned my intimacy with leaders of occultist groups, and scholars suspected of connection with nameless bands of abhorrent Elder World hierophants. These rumors, though never proved at the time, were doubtless stimulated by the known tenor of some of my reading, for the consultation of rare books at libraries cannot be effected secretly. There is tangible proof in the form of marginal notes that I went minutely through such things as the Comte d'Erlet's Culte des Goules, Ludwig Prinz de Venny's Mysteries, the Onnospreklichen Kulten of von Jutz, the surviving fragments of the puzzling Book of Ibon, and the dreaded Necronomicon of the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred. Take a shot every time Lovecraft writes the words Necronomicon of the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred. I've read that line probably like 10 or 15 times. Then, too, it is undeniable that a fresh and evil wave of underground cult activity set in about the time of my odd mutation. Then, too, it is undeniable that a fresh and evil wave of underground cult activity set in at about the time of my odd mutation. I'm going to take a sec to steady my reading. I've been making a couple of hiccups here and there. I'm going to take a little quick drink of water. In the summer of 1913, I began to display signs of ennui and flagging interest, and to hint to various associates that a change might soon be expected in me. I spoke of returning memories of my earlier life, though most auditors judged me insincere, since all the recollections I gave were casual, and such as might have been learned from my old private papers. About the middle of August, I returned to Arkham and reopened my long-closed house in Crane Street. Here, I installed a mechanism of the most curious aspect, constructed piecemeal by different makers of scientific apparatus in Europe and America, and guarded carefully from the sight of anyone intelligent enough to analyze it. Those who did see it, a workman, a servant, and the new housekeeper, say that it was a queer mixture of rods, wheels, and mirrors, though only about 2 feet tall, 1 foot wide, and 1 foot thick. The central mirror was circular and convex. All this was borne out by such makers of parts as can be located. On the evening of Friday, September 26th, I dismissed the housekeeper and the maid till noon of the next day. Lights burned in the house till late, and a lean, dark, curiously foreign-looking man called in an automobile. It was about 1 a.m. that the lights were last seen. At 2:15 a.m. a policeman observed the place in darkness, but with the stranger's motor still at the curb. By 4 o'clock the motor was certainly gone. It was at 6 that a hesitant foreign voice on the telephone asked Dr. Wilson to call at my house and bring me out of a peculiar faint. This call, a long-distance one, was later traced to a public booth in the North Station in Boston, but no sign of the lean foreigner was ever unearthed. It is a cool name, yeah. When the doctor reached my house, he found me unconscious in the sitting room, in an easy chair with a table drawn up before it. On the polished tabletop were scratches showing where some heavy object had rested. The queer machine was gone, nor was anything afterward heard of it. Undoubtedly, the dark, lean foreigner had taken it away. In the library grate were abundant ashes evidently left from the burning of every remaining scrap of paper on which I had written since the advent of the amnesia. Dr. Wilson found my breathing very peculiar, but after a hypodermic injection it became more regular. At 11:15 a.m., September 27th, I stirred vigorously, and my hitherto mask-like face began to show signs of expression. Dr. Wilson remarked that the expression was not that of my secondary personality, but seemed much like that of my normal self. About 11:30, I muttered some very curious syllables which seemed unrelated to any human speech. I appeared, too, to struggle against something. Then, just after noon, the housekeeper and the maid having meanwhile returned, I began to mutter in English. Let's see, this is an, older, scholarly type guy. One of the orthodox economists of that period, Jevon typifies the prevailing trend towards scientific correlation. His attempt to link the commercial style of prosperity and depression with the physical cycle of the solar spots forms perhaps the apex of... Nathaniel Wingate Peaslee had come back, a spirit in whose time scale it was still that of Thursday morning in 1908, with the economics class gazing up at the battered desk on the platform. My reabsorption into normal life was a painful and difficult process. The loss of over 5 years creates more complications than can be imagined, and in my case there were countless matters to be adjusted. What I heard of my actions since 1908 astonished and disturbed me, but I tried to view the matter as philosophically as I could. At last regaining custody of my second son Wingate, I settled down with him in the Crane Street house and endeavored to resume teaching. My old professorship had been kindly offered by the college. I began work with the February 1914 term, and kept at it just a year. By that time, I realized how badly my experience had shaken me. Though perfectly sane, I hoped, and with no flaw in my original personality, I had not the nervous energy of the old days. Vague dreams and queer ideas continuously haunted me, and when the outbreak of the World War turned my mind to history, I found myself thinking of periods and events in the oddest possible fashion. My conception of time, my ability to distinguish between consecutiveness and simultaneousness, seemed subtly disordered, so that I formed chimerical notions about living in one age and casting one's mind all over eternity for knowledge of past and future ages. The war gave me a strange impression of remembering some of its far-off consequences, as if I knew how it was coming out and could look back upon it in the light of future information. All such quasi-memories were attended with much pain and with a feeling that some artificial psychological barrier was set against them. When I diffidently hinted to others about my impressions, I met with varied responses. Some persons looked uncomfortably at me, but men in the mathematics department spoke of new developments in those theories of relativity, those then discussed only in learned circles, which were later to become so famous. Dr. Albert Einstein, they said, was rapidly reducing time to the status of a mere dimension. But the dreams and disturbed feelings gained on me, so that I had to drop my regular work in 1915. Certain of the impressions were taking an annoying shape, giving me the persistent notion that my amnesia had formed some unholy sort of exchange, that the secondary personality had indeed been an intruding force from unknown regions, and that my own personality had suffered displacement. Thus I was driven to vague and frightful speculations concerning the whereabouts of my true self during the years that another had held my body. The curious knowledge and strange conduct of my body's late tenant troubled me more and more as I learned further the details from persons, papers, and magazines. I'm really messing up this reading. Queernesses that had baffled others seemed to harmonize terribly with some background of black knowledge which festered in the chasms of my subconscious. I began to search feverishly for every scrap of information bearing on the studies and travels of that other one during the dark years. Not all of my troubles were as semi-abstract as this. There were the dreams, and these seemed to grow in vividness and concreteness. Knowing how most would regard them, I seldom mentioned them to anyone but my son or certain trusted psychologists, but eventually I commenced a scientific study of other cases in order to see how typical or non-typical such visions might be among amnesia victims. My results, aided by psychologists, historians, anthropologists, and mental specialists of wide experience, and by a study that included all records of split personalities from the days of demonic possession legends to the medically realistic present, at first bothered me more than they consoled me. I soon found that my dreams had indeed no counterpart in the overwhelming bulk of true amnesia cases. There remained, however, a tiny residue of accounts which for years baffled and shocked me with their parallelisms to my own experience. Some of them were bits of ancient folklore, others were case histories in the annals of medicine, one or two were anecdotes obscurely buried in standard histories. It thus appeared that, while my special kind of affliction was prodigiously rare, instances of it had occurred at long intervals ever since the beginning of man's annals. Some centuries might contain 1, 2, or 3 cases, others none, or at least none whose records survived. The essence was always the same, a person of keen thoughtfulness seized with a strange secondary life and leading for a greater or lesser period an utterly alien existence typified at first by vocal and bodily awkwardness, and later by a wholesale acquisition of scientific, historic, artistic, and anthropological knowledge, an acquisition carried on with feverish zest and with a wholly abnormal absorptive power. Then, a sudden return of the rightful consciousness, intermittently plagued ever after with vague, unplaceable dreams suggesting fragments of some hideous memory elaborately blotted out. And the close resemblance of those nightmares to my own, even in some of the smallest particulars, left no doubt in my mind of their significantly typical nature. 1 or 2 of the cases had an added ring of faint, blasphemous familiarity, as if I had heard of them before through some cosmic channel too morbid and frightful to contemplate. In 3 instances there were specific mentions of such an unknown machine as had been in my house before the second change. Another thing that cloudily worried me during my investigation was the somewhat greater frequency of cases where a brief, elusive glimpse of the typical nightmares was afforded to persons not visited with well-defined amnesia. These persons were largely of mediocre mind or less, some so primitive that they could scarcely be thought of as vehicles for abnormal scholarship and preternatural mental acquisitions. I mean, you're asking me whether or not you should give me money. I mean, if you want to do that, yeah. I mean, there's not really going to be much that you benefit out of it. Videos that I make come out a little bit early, but it's mostly just supporting me so I can continue doing things like this. Okay. So what that sentence said was that visions of the nightmares that he was having sometimes occurred with people that did not experience this amnesia, this second personality overwhelming their body. Just less learned, he describes them as, in some cases, primitive. Um, for a second, they would be fired with alien force, then a backwards lapse and a thin, swift-fading memory of unhuman horrors. There had been at least 3 such cases during the past half-century, one only 15 years before. Had something been groping blindly through time from some unexpected abyss in nature? Were these faint cases monstrous, sinister experiments of a kind and authorship utterly beyond sane belief? Such were a few of the formless speculations of my weaker hours, fancies abetted by myths which my studies uncovered. For I could not doubt but that certain persistent legends of immemorial antiquity, apparently unknown to the victims and physicians connected with recent amnesia cases, formed a striking and awesome elaboration of memory lapses such as mine. Of the nature of the dreams and impressions which were growing so clamorous, I still almost fear to speak of them. They seemed to savor of madness, and at times I believed I indeed was going mad. Was there a special type of delusion afflicting those who had suffered lapses of memory? Conceivably, the efforts of the subconscious mind to fill up a perplexing blank with pseudo-memories might give rise to strange imaginative vagaries. This, indeed, though an alternative folklore theory finally seemed to be more plausible, was the belief of many of the alienists who helped me in my search for parallel cases, and who shared my puzzlement at the exact resemblances sometimes discovered. They did not call the condition true insanity, but classed it rather among neurotic disorders. My course in trying to track it down and analyze it, instead of vainly seeking to dismiss or forget it, they heartily endorsed as correct according to the best psychological principles. I especially valued the advice of such physicians as had studied me during my possession by the other personality. My first disturbances were not visual at all, but concerned the more abstract matters which I have mentioned. There was, too, a feeling of profound and inexplicable horror concerning myself. I developed a queer fear of seeing my own form, as if my eyes would find it something utterly alien and inconceivably abhorrent. When I did glance down and behold the familiar human shape in quiet gray or blue clothing, I always felt a curious relief, though in order to gain this relief I had to conquer an infinite dread. I shunned mirrors as much as possible and was always shaved at the barber's. It was a long time before I correlated any of these disappointed feelings with the fleeting visual impressions which began to develop. The first such correlation had to do with the odd sensation of an external, artificial restraint on my memory. I felt that the snatches of sight I experienced had a profound and terrible meaning, and a frightful connection with myself, but that some purposeful influence held me back from grasping the meaning and that connection. Then came that queerness about the element of time, and with it desperate efforts to place the fragmentary dream glimpses in the chronological and spatial pattern. The glimpses themselves were at first merely strange rather than horrible. I would seem to be in an enormous vaulted chamber whose lofty stone groinings were well nigh lost in the shadows overhead. In whatever time or place the scene might be, the principle of the arch was known as fully and used as extensively as by the Romans. There were colossal round windows and high arched doors, and pedestals or tables each as tall as the height of an ordinary room. Vast shelves of dark wood lined the walls, holding what seemed to be volumes of immense size with strange hieroglyphs on their backs. The exposed stonework held curious carvings, always in curvilinear mathematical designs, and there were chiseled inscriptions in the same characters that the huge books bore. The dark granite masonry was of a monstrous megalithic type, with lines of convex-topped blocks fitting the concave-bottomed courses which rested upon them. There were no chairs, but the tops of the vast pedestals were littered with books, papers, and what seemed to be writing materials, oddly figured jars of a purplish metal, and rods with stained tips. Tall as the pedestals were, I seemed at times able to view them from above. On some of them were great globes of luminous crystal serving as lamps, and inexplicable machines formed of vitreous tubes and metal rods. The windows were glazed and latticed with stout-looking bows. Though I dared not approach and peer out them, I could see from where I was the waving tops of singular fern-like growths. The floor was of massive octagonal flagstones, while rugs and hangings were entirely lacking. Yeah, 1817. Hey, grandfather's 90 years old? Damn. I guess, I don't know how to respond to that information. I guess cool. Later, I had visions of sweeping through cyclopean corridors of stone and up and down gigantic inclined planes of the same monstrous masonry. There were no stairs anywhere, nor was any passageway less than 30 feet wide. Some of the structures through which I floated must have towered into the sky for thousands of feet. There were multiple levels of black vaults below, and never-opened trapdoors sealed down with metal bands and holding dim suggestions of some special peril. I seemed to be a prisoner, and horror hung broodingly over everything I saw. I felt that the mocking curvilinear hieroglyphs on the walls would blast my soul with their message were I not guarded by a merciful ignorance. Still later, my dreams included vistas from the great round windows, and from the titanic flat roof, with its curious gardens, wide barren area, and high scalloped parapet of stone to which the topmost of the inclined planes led. There were almost endless leagues of giant buildings, each in its garden, and ranged along paved roads fully 200 feet wide. They differed greatly in aspect, but few were less than 500 feet square or 1,000 feet high. Many seemed so limitless that they must have had a frontage of several thousand feet, while some shot up to the mountainous altitudes in the gray, steamy heavens. I must say, these very in-depth descriptions at the Mountains of Madness had the same issue. These are just a slog to get through. They seemed to be mainly of stone or concrete, and most of them embodied the oddly curvilinear type of masonry noticeable in the building that held me. Roofs were flat and garden-covered, and tended to have scalloped parapets. Sometimes there were terraces in higher levels, and wide cleared spaces amidst the gardens. The great roads held hints of motion, but in the earlier visions I could not resolve that impression into details. In certain places I beheld enormous dark cylindrical towers which climbed far above any of the other structures. These appeared to be of a totally unique nature, and shewed signs of prodigious age and dilapidation. They were built of a bizarre type of square-cut basalt masonry, and tapered slightly toward their rounded tops. Nowhere in any of them could the least traces of windows or other apertures save huge doors be found. I noticed also some lower buildings, all crumbling with the weathering of eons, which resembled these dark cylindrical towers in basic architecture. Around all these aberrant piles of square-cut masonry there hovered an inexplicable aura of menace and concentrated fear, like that bred by the sealed trapdoors. We'll see, hamburgers. The omnipresent gardens were almost terrifying in their strangeness, with bizarre and unfamiliar forms of vegetation nodding over broad paths lined with curiously carven monoliths. Abnormally vast fern-like growths predominated, some green and some of a ghastly, fungoid pallor. Among them rose great spectral things resembling calamities. Calamites, whose bamboo-like trunks towered to fabulous heights. Then there were tufted forms like fabulous cicadas, and grotesque dark green shrubs and trees of coniferous aspect. Flowers were small, colorless, and unrecognizable, blooming in geometrical beds and at large among the greenery. In a few of the terrace and rooftop gardens were larger and more vivid blossoms of almost offensive contours and seeming to suggest artificial breeding. Fungi of inconceivable size, outlines, and colors specked the scene in patterns bespeaking some unknown but well-established horticultural tradition. In the larger gardens on the ground, there seemed to be some attempt to preserve the irregularities of nature, but on the roofs there was more selectiveness and more evidences of the topiary. Yeah, I might consider making and uploading some videos that are just like an hour or two long that are just reading these stories uninterrupted, without, you know, the game going on here. Just to listen to. Am I allowed to do that? What do you mean, am I allowed to? Who'd stop me? Piracy laws? I don't think H.P. Lovecraft's works are something that people would particularly care about me reading. I mean, I'm reading them now. These stories are damn near a century old. Hell, they might even be in public domain by this point. These are old stories. In the larger gardens on the ground, there seemed to be some attempt to preserve the irregularities of nature, but on the roofs there was more selectiveness and more evidences of the topiary art. The skies were almost always moist and cloudy. Have we gotten a, Okay, it doesn't look like there's a banner yet. Do I have a kill counter? No, right, I didn't get a tally counter. The skies were almost always moist and cloudy, and sometimes I would seem to witness tremendous rains. Once in a while, though, there would be glimpses of the sun, which looked abnormally large, and of the moon, whose markings held a touch of difference from the normal that I could never quite fathom. When, very rarely, the night sky was clear to any extent, I beheld constellations which were nearly beyond recognition. Known outlines were sometimes approximated but seldom duplicated, and from the position of the few groups I could recognize, I felt I must be in the Earth's southern hemisphere, near the Tropic of Capricorn. The far horizon was always steamy and indistinct, but I could see that great jungles of unknown tree ferns, calamites, lepidodendra, and sigillaria lay outside the city, their fantastic frondage waving mockingly in the shifting vapors. Now and then there would be suggestions of motion in the sky, but these my earlier visions never resolved. I can't see what your new profile pic is. Is that a Stolfo? By the autumn of 1914, I began to have infrequent dreams of strange floatings over the city and through the regions around it. I saw interminable roads through forests of fearsome growths with mottled, fluted, and banded trunks, and past other cities as strange as the one which persistently haunted me. I saw monstrous constructions of black or iridescent stone in glades and clearings where perpetual twilight reigned, and traversed long causeways over swamps so dark that I could tell but little of their moist, towering vegetation. Once I saw an area of countless miles strewn with age-blasted basaltic ruins whose architecture had been like that of the few windowless, round-topped towers in the haunting city. And once I saw the sea, a boundless steamy expanse beyond the colossal stone piers of an enormous town of domes and arches. Great, shapeless suggestions of shadow moved over it, and here and there its surface was vexed with anomalous sproutings. Chapter 3. I don't remember reaching Chapter 2. Oh. As I have said, it was not immediately that these wild visions began to hold their terrifying quality. Certainly, many persons have dreamed intrinsically stranger things, things compounded by unrelated scraps of daily life, pictures, and reading, and arranged in fantastically novel forms by the unchecked caprices of sleep. For some time, I accepted the visions as natural, even though I had never before been an extravagant dreamer. Many of the vague anomalies, I argued, must have come from trivial sources too numerous to track down, while others seemed to reflect a common textbook knowledge of the plants and other conditions of the primitive world of 150 million years ago, the world of the Permian and Triassic Age. In the course of some months, however, the element of terror did figure with accumulating force. This was when the dreams began so unfailingly to have the aspect of memories, and when my mind began to link them with the growing abstract disturbances, the feeling of mnemonic restraint, the curious impressions regarding time, the sense of a loathsome exchange with my secondary personality of 1908 to 1913, and considerably later, the inexplicable loathing of my own person. As certain definite details began to enter the dreams, their horror increased 1,000-fold, until by October 1915 I felt I must do something. It was then that I began an extensive study of other cases of amnesia and visions, feeling that I might thereby objectivize my trouble and shake clear of its emotional grip. However, as before mentioned, the result was at first almost exactly opposite. It disturbed me vastly to find that my dreams had been so closely duplicated, especially since some of the accounts were too early to admit of any geological knowledge, and therefore of any idea of primitive landscapes on the subject's part. You know, here's what I think I'll do. I had been meaning to do this anyway. I think I might read a bunch of these stories and record them, and then maybe like stick to like an upload schedule of like once or twice a week, like Wednesday and like Saturday or something, of just uploading them basically as audiobooks to listen to. What do you mean weird, AT217? Hey, Quoxy. We're still not at 50? Once we get to 50, Queens, our rate of killing is going to increase drastically, because we'll get the banner. I'm doing pretty well, Quoxy. As certain definite details began to enter the dreams, their horror increased 1,000-fold, until by October 1915 I felt I must do something. It was then that I began an intensive study of other cases of amnesia and visions, feeling that I might thereby objectivize my trouble and shake clear of its emotional grip. However, as mentioned before, the result was at first almost exactly opposite. It disturbed me vastly to find that my dreams had been so closely duplicated, especially since some of the accounts were too early to admit of any geological knowledge, and therefore of any idea of primitive landscapes on the subject's part. What is more, many of these accounts supplied very horrible details and explanations in connection with the visions of great buildings and jungle gardens, and other things. That seems scummy, but channel members should get it. They might get it early, but there's no reason to restrict it to only them. They would get early access to videos, not exclusive access to videos. I studied psychology systematically. Average EA move. I mean, making videos for members only is just a massive waste of time when I have, like, barely any YouTube members. That basically just ensures that whatever I spend a ton of time doing is going to be seen by no one, which is pointless. It's just a waste of time. The actual sights and vague impressions were bad enough, but what was hinted or asserted by some of the other dreamers savored of madness and blasphemy. Worst of all, my own pseudo-memory was aroused to wilder dreams and hints of coming revelations. And yet, most doctors deemed my course on the whole an advisable one. Hey, Emer-chan. I studied psychology systematically, and under the prevailing stimulus, my son Wingate did the same. I think, I'll probably work on the pillows off stream for the rest of the week and hope to start the Moonlord next week if possible. Which means the rest of the week, I don't know, maybe I'll do a Terraria multiplayer world. We'd have time. I could also play other games. It's the Steam summer sale, so there's a lot of stuff on sale. I don't know if I would stream more Dead Cells. I was having fun with Dead Cells, but I feel like it's a game that I'd have a lot more fun with off stream than on stream. I haven't had, yeah. I want to make an inventory slot so when we do get a banner, it'll just go right in our inventory. I don't have too many other... I mean, I have... There's the Holiday Hatofuru Boyfriend game. Hatofuru Boyfriend Holiday Star. Maybe we'll put out some polls in the Discord server. And under the prevailing stimulus, my son Wingate did the same. Hey, no clobnifigant clarass. Mint. His studies leading eventually to his present professorship. In 1917 and 1918, I took special courses at Miskatonic. Meanwhile, my examination of medical, historical, and anthropological records became indefatigable, involving travels to distant libraries, and finally including even a reading of the hideous books of forbidden elder lore in which my secondary personality had been so disturbingly interested. Some of the latter were the actual copies I had consulted in my altered state, and I was greatly disturbed by certain marginal notations and ostensible corrections of the hideous text in a script and idiom which somehow seemed oddly unhuman. I want to see how much defense these alien queens have. That would influence some things. Terraria, alien, queen. 44 defense. Damn. Even with a banner, we'll still only be doing 1 damage a hit. We can't penetrate that sufficiently. Like, even if... I don't even have a second Sharktooth Necklace, but even if I had a second Sharktooth Necklace, we would only bring it down to 34 defense, and with the banner we do 16 damage, which would be nullified by 32 defense, so we'll be doing 1 damage regardless, so the banner is actually pointless. Okay. These markings were mostly written in the respective languages of the various books, all of which the writer seemed to know with equal, though obviously academic, facility. One note appended to von Juntz's Auspreklichen Kulten, however, was alarmingly otherwise. It consisted of certain curvilinear hieroglyphs in the same ink as that of the German corrections, but following no recognized human pattern. And these hieroglyphs were closely and unmistakably akin to the characters constantly met with in my dreams. Characters whose meaning I would sometimes momentarily fancy I knew or was just on the brink of recalling. To complete my black confusion, my librarians assured me that, in view of the previous examinations and records of consultation of the volumes in question, all of these notations must have been made by myself in my secondary state. This despite the fact that I was and still am ignorant of 3 of the languages involved. This despite the fact that I was and still am ignorant of 3 of the languages involved. Piecing together the scattered records, ancient and modern, anthropological and medical, I found a fairly consistent mixture of myth and hallucination, whose scope and wildness left me utterly dazed. Only one thing consoled me, the fact that the myths were of such early existence. What lost knowledge could have brought pictures of the Paleozoic or Mesozoic landscape into these primitive fables, I could not even guess, but the pictures had been there. Thus, a basis existed for the formation of a fixed type of delusion. Cases of amnesia no doubt created the general myth pattern, but afterward the fanciful accretions of the myths must have reacted on amnesia sufferers and colored their pseudo-memories. I myself had read and heard all the early tales during my memory lapse. My quest had amply proved that. Was it not natural then for my subsequent dreams and emotional impressions to become colored and molded by what my memory subtly held over my secondary state? A few of the myths had significant connections with other cloudy legends of the pre-human world, especially those Hindu tales involving stupefying gulfs of time and forming part of the lore of modern theosophists. Primal myth and modern delusion joined in their assumption that mankind is only one. I should do a Minecraft playthrough. Minecraft sucks, no. Perhaps the least of the highly evolved and dominant races of this planet's long and largely unknown career. Things of inconceivable shape, they apply, had reared towers to the sky and delved into every secret of nature before the first amphibian forebear of man had crawled out of the hot sea 300 million years ago. Some had come down from the stars, a few were as old as the cosmos itself, others had arisen swiftly from terrene germs as far behind as the first germs of our life cycle as those germs are behind ourselves. What? I need to reread that. Minecraft is fun with lots of friends. I disagree. Minecraft is just not a very fun game. It's aggressively mediocre. We still haven't killed 50? I wonder if we've been splitting the kills between the Hornets and the Queens. I didn't say that, Bismarck. Honestly, I'm not really vibing with reading this story right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just tired, and I feel like I'm not really in the reading mood. So I might look for something else to do. I'm too tired. I'll bookmark it in case we come back to it later, but you can just put on music. I'll put on the Dead Cell soundtrack. Let me know if the music is too loud or quiet. You know something I can do? What can I do, Bismarck? We gotta be getting close to the halfway point. Minecraft soundtrack hits hard. Eh. It's got some good music, but like, in general, I just think Minecraft is very overrated. And it's just aggressively mediocre and uninteresting. Play Solitaire? I don't know how to play Solitaire. Time to learn? No. Oh. Oh. I'm tired. I had another laser hair removal appointment this Saturday. It's a weird vibe. I'm getting it on my legs and my face. My legs appointments are 8 weeks apart. My face appointments are 2 weeks apart. And it's... Legs are not painful at all. It's just mildly discomforting. Face is kind of painful to get laser on. Especially like your upper lip. Like the mustache area between your nose and your mouth. Especially the ridge, like directly beneath your nose. Shit hurts. It's just a really sensitive region. I imagine it would also be decently painful for the same reason if you're getting like pubic region done. I disagree on what they should have been. A Minecraft golem trying way too hard. Putting the cultist as a plague doctor is trying way too hard. You're misunderstanding the intention there. Having them actually be what they are defeats the point. They're tangentially related concepts. It's semi-permanent, 8217. After a long period of time, it might eventually, if you don't do, like, maintenance appointments, start to come back. Particularly, more hormonal hair growth areas, which is, like, face and, I think, pubic region. It's much more difficult to, the Destroyer was a color-changed worm. It was a darker worm. The wall of flesh was not a slab of meat. The wall of flesh was 2 eyes and a mouth. Also, sans is... no. Putting in Mimi or reference things is not as much fun as just putting in royalty-free images. Those are bad ideas. Yeah, it's less effective on more hormonal hair growth areas, like the face. And those areas are also more prone to have it be less effective. But it is, at the very least, a significant reduction in the amount of hair that would grow there. Whereas, like, there are spots on my leg where, even after just one appointment, I still have not had hair grow back there in, like, several weeks. Because I think... happy with it so far? Yeah. Yeah, I might also get laser done on my arms, and I'd like to find somewhere that does laser on, like, private regions, but the place that I go to now does not offer for that area. Because that's one of the more annoying places to shave repeatedly. Need something entertaining to see, watch along with this ongoing piece of boring old shit? No, you don't. I mean, again, you did this the last time that we were doing this. You're welcome to just leave rather than complaining. You don't have to be here. You can just go do something else. Watch something else. I tried these cinnamon graham crackers the other day. Because like Honey made graham crackers, right? Pretty popular graham cracker brand. No, we're not watching a Simpsons or Family Guy episode. One, those are copyrighted. Two, I don't want to watch the Simpsons or Family Guy on stream. Anyway, I normally get the honey flavor. I really like honey graham crackers. But I tried a cinnamon flavor. And that was interesting. Wasn't really a big fan of it compared to the honey one. We're not watching any of that. I'm not putting anything on. We're just gonna do this. Chocolate bar about 50 centimeters inches. 50 centimeters. Damn. That's big. Why do you have it? Where'd you get it from? Are you gonna eat it? Reminds me of the Snickers bar that I had. I ate that over the period of like a month. Give you something entertaining to see? No, I told you to stop bringing that up. I don't care if they're memeing. I will just ban them if they ask it again. I told you to stop multiple times over multiple days. You can either stop or you can get out. And if you don't want to leave, I'll force you out. I had that giant Snickers bar that I had during, you showed us entertaining things before. Yeah, there was a period of time where I was watching my old streams and my old videos back, but that didn't work well because that caused the stream to randomly drop out, so we're not doing that. We're just gonna sit here and vibe, it's fine. Any cat dog videos? No, I told you to stop. You don't need to have ideas. I told you no. The answer is no. It doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you bring up, the answer is no. Stop asking. Oh my god. There was this dessert place. That like scared the shit out of me when I went to so I had a family member come down this weekend, and cousin, and we were gonna hang out, me, him, my sister, and my other sister over the weekend, and we decided to hop by a bowling alley, play some pool. There's an arcade there. It's Sticker, 8217. Anyway, all that's to say is the bowling alley that we had gone to had this like dessert restaurant in it that scared the hell out of me. They were like a very how do I put it? Glorified. I don't know the word that I'm trying to use. But they basically sold these very extravagant desserts and milkshakes. And they scared the hell out of me. They looked like they were probably like 2,000 or 3,000 calories. I think they were like $10, $15, $18 a piece. And they would be things like... Hold on, let me find their website and I will read off one of the descriptions of one of the desserts. Just to... Just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about here. Okay. This is a peanut butter flavored one. Vanilla ice cream blended with Reese's peanut butter sauce in a chocolate and peanut butter swirled jar with a peanut butter rim rolled in mini Reese's Pieces, topped with 2 Reese's peanut butter cups and mini Reese's Pieces, finished with peanut sauce, chocolate sauce, and whipped icing. There's one here that just literally has a slice of cake and a pineapple slice on top of the milkshake container. Like just a whole ass slice of cake. The other one's like donuts on top of it. There's one that's the Freedom one for the 4th of July. Crazy confetti ice cream with patriotic sprinkles mixed in a blue and red marshmallow swirl custom designed July 4th container. Vanilla frosted rim rolled in a patriotic sprinkle mixed and topped with a red, white, and blue cake slice, whip icing, more patriotic sprinkles, and an American flag. There was one that just has like 2 liter. What does 2L mean? Birthday cake ice cream in a blue marshmallow swirled jar with vanilla buttercream rim rolled in rainbow sprinkles, topped with a cupcake and lollipop, then finished with blue marshmallow drizzle, whipped icing, and rainbow sprinkles. Like, it's just a milkshake filled with sprinkles all over the place that then has just a whole ass cupcake put on top. And then, like, one of those big, like, circular rainbow lollipops just stuck through the middle of the cupcake where like a straw would be. Patriotic sprinkles. Are you American Badger liquid in? It varies, AT217. How big is that? They may just put a cake on top of them. Like a cake slice, not a whole cake. But yeah, God, the menu does not have calories listed. But I gotta imagine these things are like fucking thousands of calories. We're still not at 50? What the hell? We're killing 6 at a time. But yeah, God, that place... Those desserts scared me a lot. I don't know what that means, hamburgers. Let's see. Patriotic sprinkles? Yeah, they're just red, white, and blue. Average American diet? It's not the average American diet. If it was the average American diet, I probably, as an American, would not be disgusted by it. Yeah, that place is apparently, like, really popular and, like... It's just... sickening to think about the amount of, like, sugar in that. Or, like, I wouldn't even... Like... You're basically committing to eating the whole thing, right? If you get a whole milkshake like that, you pay $15 for it. You're committing to eating the whole thing, but the whole thing is like thousands of calories. I don't know. So, Brenda, your health and well-being, sir. What? I feel like you're gonna ask me for Bob's and for Gene. Are there any other good games on the Steam Summer Sale? I know somebody had mentioned Risk of Rain 2 being on sale. Which I've thought about maybe picking up. Anything else good on sale? Although honestly, I have not been feeling a huge drive to play Dead Cells. Like, I've been doing a couple of runs here and there. I don't know how much I've been vibing with the gameplay. I don't know. I'm gonna play it a bit more, see if I get a nice feel from it. Is the Binding of Isaac on there? I already own Isaac, nor am I going to play it again. I've played plenty of Isaac. I really have no interest in playing Isaac more. I do not want to play Isaac pretty much ever again. You ever watch the Dead Cells streams because you're thinking of playing it and you want it to be fresh? That's understandable. We played up to the point where I beat the game for the first time, and that was like the second stream. And then after that, I don't know if I'd stream it more. I'll probably play it off stream a bit, but not stream it more. Roguelikes are weird with streaming, because I mean, you could like kind of just stream them indefinitely, but like it's a lot of the same shit. And a lot of the times, it's not always the most interesting. Like, that's why I stopped... Like, that's why I only streamed Darkest Dungeon, like, once or twice. Like, I played Darkest Dungeon plenty. Enjoyed it a lot. But it's much more of an off-stream game. Just the pacing of it and everything. Same thing with Hades. We played, like, until I... Usually until I beat a run, or a couple of runs, and then I'll just play them off-stream. Can we get a banner up in this bitch, please? Come on. I know I'm killing some hornets, so like... I wonder if our hornet to queen ratio is just really off. Because we've killed a lot of stuff. Maybe we're just killing more hornets than I thought we were. See, this is the example of the lawnmower. Like, why is the lawnmower not hitting that? Okay, there we go. Finally a queen. Banner. Which won't actually matter, I don't think. But... on the off chance it does anything. Yeah, no, it doesn't do anything. Which is unfortunate, but oh well. We are, we're almost done with the vortex pillar, I think. I don't know the exact distribution of things, but that was 50 queens, and then we've also killed hornets, so we're probably at like 60, 70, potentially even higher. Ratio of things killed. We'll see. We'll see. It's been fucking hot outside recently. The midst of the summer is really not a pleasant time to be outside. It's like 90 degrees outside. That is not weather I like. Hurts being out in the sun. And like, I usually keep my room at like 77 Fahrenheit, which is still really hot. But manageable. Helps keep the HVAC bill down too. It's a good temperature for my gecko too. Main reason I don't like it get too hot in here is so my gecko doesn't overheat. How much that non-freedom units? Which one? Like my room temperature or the outside temperature? Uh, 90 Fahrenheit, I want to say is like 30 something, low 30 Celsius, 32? Probably like 32, I think. Somewhere around there. And 77, somewhere in the mid-20s. 24, 25, 26, something like that. I don't remember the exact number. Lucky room runs 16 Celsius, which is about 61. Why the fuck do you keep your room so cold? What the hell? That's like, that's really cold. No, 16 Celsius or 61 Fahrenheit is cold as fuck. I mean, I couldn't keep my room at that temperature because I have a gecko. I don't usually let it get below, like, at most, like 70 something Fahrenheit. It's one thing to say that you want to keep cold in winter to avoid having to save energy. Like, oh, you keep your room at 16 Celsius in the winter to avoid heating costs. But saying that, like, you like it at 16 and, like, you do that, like, you try to keep it at that in, like, the summer, that's obscene. Unless you're just in a really cold climate and it's just always that cold. You know, if aircons, you just die in the summer? Wow, skill issue. Nah, air conditioning's great. I love air conditioning. Actually, out of window opening. Window opening isn't enough, Kanatar. Like, I open the windows in the morning before it gets hot out, but once it gets like 90 degrees outside, opening a window just makes it hotter inside. Because it's just letting out the air inside that's cold. And letting in the air that's like 80, 90 degrees. Everything's almost gone. About 100 HP left on these queens. How many have I killed so far? Somewhere between 50 and 100. I'd guess maybe 70. Counting hornets, but I'm not certain. Might even be higher. We might already be up to like 90 or something. I don't know. I don't know how many hornets I've... Although we could actually check. Hold on. I'm gonna wait till I kill these here. Because we got hornets and they kill in half the time of the queens. And they're all stuck in a good position. Because I forgot you can check kill counts in the bestiary. So we can actually see how close we are. We just check hornet counts and queen counts. Right, there was a soccer player named Immobile. Kind of weird how direct the enemy AI is. Empty vortex things have been running in and out of the cave for almost 2 hours, just like that crimson thing on the left smashing the wall, etc. Most of Terraria's AI is pretty simple. They have a small set of rules that they follow. I don't think it's weird. I mean, the game is old and is not particularly complex in terms of its AI. Is killing Queen Slime out of the question? I just don't want to spend the time to kill Queen Slime. She's not... None of the bosses we fight would be interesting or fun to fight. Like, they would all be doing the same thing. And it would just be spending more time. And I'd rather spend that time killing the Moonlord. Because he's going to take the longest by far. Like, it's not like Queen Slime's going to be interesting. It's just going to be... Why do they run away and then run back in and jump around weirdly and do that same thing up for an infinite time? Well, they run in because... What is spider? After running up against an obstacle and not making progress towards you for a certain period of time, they turn around. There's something falling on my wall. I want to go see what that is. Some insect. Little arachnid. I don't know what it was, but I'm throwing it away. I'll be back in a second. Let's check our kill count. Oh, we're very close. 26:58. That's what, 84? So we only have 16 more things to kill before we can fight the pillar. Okay. But yeah, the Stardust pillar would basically be doing the same thing here. Build some contraption for the Stardust cells to get stuck in and then lawnmower them. And then Nebula and Solar Pillar would be pulling things out and then killing them one at a time, which would be a lot slower. Those are the ones that I really wouldn't want to do on stream. Because they'd just be so obscenely long. This was going a lot faster than I expected, though, which is nice. I'm glad this panned out in a way that worked pretty much. I think this is basically the optimal killing situation for the Vortex Pillar. I don't know of anything we could do that would be faster or more effective than what we're doing now. Maybe I could make a contraption that would funnel enemies in the actual pillar itself and be able to attack more of them. Clover spelled green wrong? Clover can't spell. What would I like you to say to Clover? Oh, you're in a voice call with Clover in the Discord server. Tell him that he sucks at Roblox obbies. You got 5 games from the Steam Summer Sale? What were they? Bloons Tower Defense 6, People, Playground, and more. He has an 80-20 win rate. He has his math wrong. He has an 80-20 lose rate. I watched Clover blow himself up with a grenade when we were playing the, like, Payday Roblox mod. He literally just, like, threw a grenade at the helicopter as we were escaping and blew himself up. Yeah, I need to, I haven't looked too closely at the Steam Summer Sale. Roblox is kind of too clunky for you to enjoy on your own as much you got it last Rain Escape stream. The new COD is there? I don't want to play Call of Duty. I played COD a decent amount back when I was in like high school. I think we went through the Dead Cells soundtrack. It's video. No, no, we didn't went through the Dead Cells soundtrack. The thing just decided to stop playing for some reason. Who knows why? I don't. I didn't tell it to stop. Yeah, Roblox is clunky. It is free though, so. I don't know what Lobotomy Corporation is, nor do I know what Library of Ruin is. Almost done though. Almost. It was 84 last I checked. They're good games. Is that a threat? A good stream games. Speaking of good games, enjoy them when you're on time. I don't. What genre of games are they? Monster Management Simulator. Deck building card game. Neither of those genres sound like something I'm not super fond of. How much do they cost? $9? I don't want to pay that. Ruin is $10? I don't want to pay that. I bought Darkest Dungeon when it was like on sale for $250. I'm really not keen on spending like $9 to $10 on a game that I don't know that I would enjoy that much. Am I looking for a game? I'm just looking for things that are good on the Steam summer sale. Terraria's on a good sale right now. What's it at? $5? What's Terraria's base price? guess it's normally like 10. I don't know. I didn't even buy Terraria. Somebody bought it for me. I don't even remember how much it costs. Oh, so close to being done. Well, so close to being able to attack the pillar, which is then close to being done. I'm not really even sure if we're going to be able to attack the pillar properly, but we'll see. Good deals with the under $10 filter. Yeah. Alright, see ya, 8217. If we can get in a position to attack the pillar safely, we should be fine. How do you... How do you determine... Like, there's a way to, like, make a hole that doesn't have alien hornets spawn in it, right? Because, like, that's one of the strategies for the vortex pillars. You just, like, dig a hole in the ground and cover it. I don't know the specifics of the hornet spawning, though. How those portals appear. We can play around with it a bit. I'll be interested to see if Stardust Pillar is faster than this one. It only took... It's looking like it's going to take about 2 hours to get through the actual enemies themselves. Which isn't terrible. Yeah, I'll think about some stuff and put out some polls after the stream today about what to do the next few days. I might not stream. Actually, I'll have to think about whether I'm doing anything on the 4th tomorrow. So we're probably up into the 90s now, kill count wise. Okay. 2 more. Gotta be getting close. We're... Hold on. A falling star fell and hit the pillar. As we would... Hold on. I think we're done now. Yeah, okay, a falling star just, smacked the pillar up. Yeah, that's why our, DPS meter went wild there. Come on. Come on, bad Hornet Queen. I can't. Damn it. Hi, Sorbet. I heard Bismarck telling on me. Just want to say that after telling me I couldn't spell, he said he was dabbing on you. He said that? He said he was dabbing on you? You dabbed on Clover because he couldn't spell? You dabbed on him. You dabbed on him? You dabbed on him. Damn, bro, that sucks. Your car won't start? Did you try talking to it about this? Did you ask it to start? Did you use your words? Started now? Oh, so you lied. So your car was starting fine. You lied, and you said it wasn't. You thought that was funny or entertaining? Are we just tools to you? Oh, so it started now, but it wouldn't start. Would it start or would it not start? Which one is it? When do the lies stop, Bismarck? When do you tell the truth? There's supposed to be some magic code that both starts and won't start? Please stop, you jackasses. God, these fuckers are annoying. Schrodinger's car? I don't think Bismarck is capable of quantum superpositions. In his vehicle. Is there a way to build holes here that don't allow the portals to go in them? Like to build a location where you won't have, because you can just do that, right? Like you can just dig a hole in the ground. Maybe I need a block above, like a gap above me. Maybe that'll do it. I think that might be part of it. Hey, welcome in, Carnival. Yeah, okay. Okay, the hole is necessary. Looks like the hole needs to be directly above you. Okay. Now what? Hi. No, why are you doing that? Stop. Wait, can I just... Oh. I can just sit here and do this. Okay. Alright, it's, the pillar doesn't have collision, so it has a bigger hitbox. Falling stars are probably gonna kill this thing, if I had to guess. Yeah, so to have the projectile thingies not hurt you, you need to have a gap like directly above you. Just one block is enough. Okay. So, at the bare minimum, minimum damage we do 5 damage per second. That's 300 damage a minute, which is 18,000 damage an hour. So a little under an hour would be the minimum amount of time to kill this pillar. However, falling stars will probably fall, and if they do fall, but stars be the hardest? Nah. Nebula is almost certainly going to be the hardest. You can farm Stardust cells very easily. Wormy boys? I mean, you can pull the cells out, of the areas and then just not have wormy boys to deal with. Wormy boys are annoying, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to actually dealing with the pillar itself, like, if we just wait, falling stars will kill them. This is don't dig up, so there are a lot of falling stars all the time. The pillars are on the surface, and, like, they'll just die to falling stars. Oh, the reason we identified the pillar's shields were down in the first place is because a falling star hit the pillar, dealt, like, almost 3,000 damage to it, and we saw a DPS meter spike. That was our tip-off. And that happened, like, almost immediately after the pillars went down, or the shields went down. Great sound of worms, you get PTSD every time you hear it. The main worms that I really don't like, corruption worms in the pre-hard mode surface corruption, devourers. Those guys are really annoying, especially if you're early game and don't have means to deal with them. Because they're the only pre-hard mode evil enemy that tracks you through blocks. You can use platforms, blocks to get rid of all of the other ones, but you can't do anything with devourers unless you're really high in the air or have like a grenade or good AoE stuff. And they do a lot of damage. So like trying to cross the corruption day one, a devourer spawn can just be you run away or die, or try to get through and oftentimes die. Sometimes you get past though. At least they despawn out of the corruption. The underground desert ones are annoying, especially dune splicers. Particularly when you are, like, approximately near the underground desert. You know, you're not directly on the underground desert, but, like, you're walking near the underground desert. You know, you're mining around it, and then you find it, and just instant, underground desert worm spawns and tracks you down. Those are annoying. Milky Way Weavers I don't think are that bad. They made Milky Way Weavers a much more annoying enemy in 1.4.4. Because pre 1.4.4 they didn't spawn other enemies. Now in 1.4.4 they just are able to spawn Stardust enemies. And are also, I think, faster and maybe do more damage. They got a big buff. Which is really annoying. They did interesting pillar balance changes in 1.4.4, where they made the two pillars that sucked a lot better, and then they made the two pillars that were fine much worse. The worst thing in the Nebula pillar, a lot of the times, would have been Nebula floaters, which are the teleporty enemies. The big eyeball-looking guys that have the laser beams they shoot. Their teleporting was drastically nerfed in 1.4.4 to the point that they're barely even a threat anymore. They used to have reactive teleporting and then would also immediately fire a like, reactive shot after teleporting. And so if you're using a fast-hitting weapon, they would just insta-snap teleport all over the place and just be spamming out shots that you, like, didn't have time to react to. And they could also, like, telefrag you if you were moving pretty quickly. But their telefragging was nerfed. They made it so they teleport further away from you. And they also lost their reactive shot. They have a cooldown after teleporting before they can shoot again. Which makes them much easier. The solar pillar, Corvites were annoying. Those are the ones that fly through walls. They had their damage and speed reduced. And then the main annoyance, especially for rangers and mages and things like that, would have been Selenians, which are the spinny boys that reflect projectiles. Their reflecting was nerfed into the ground. All projectile reflections were nerfed into the ground in 1.4.4. To the point that they basically just do 1 damage all the time. At least in my experience. However, they took the Vortex Pillar. And I'm sure you've had this happen if you've played since 1.4.4. Storm divers in the Vortex Pillar are fucking so annoying now. It's miserable trying to be out in the open in the Vortex Pillar. Because storm divers have, like, really good tracking and ability to follow you now. So they will just be constantly on your ass flying up and down with fast-moving shots from their shotgun. And that made Vortex a lot more annoying. And then the Stardust Pillar, they buffed Milky Way Weavers a lot to make them basically just keep spawning more enemies. Which makes them a lot more threatening. So yeah, they took the bad pillars, made them not as bad, and they took the 2 not bad pillars and made them worse. Which it kind of equalizes all of them a bit, but they also generally nerfed the pillars because I think they reduced the kill count required in expert and master mode, I think, and also on subsequent kills reduce the number that you need to kill to reduce the shields to make farming the Moonlord easier. Okay, 25% of the way there. Although, that's not counting the falling star. You're probably more like 15% of the way there, after considering the falling star's damage. What I think I'm probably gonna do is honestly kill the last pillar off stream. Actually, no, it'll depend, now that I think about it. Since I can kill the pillars consistently like this, I could actually kill them before summoning the Moonlord on stream without much issue. I was thinking that it would be really annoying trying to kill the pillars, but I don't actually think it would be that bad. Fun gameplay? Yeah. There's, Not very much interesting going on with the pillars. This is why we're only doing this one pillar on stream, and the rest of them we're going to do off stream. There's a... One of my legs in my microphone stand has been... It got, like, loosened somehow. I need to tighten it, but I don't have the tool to tighten it. What happened to it? What did happen to it? What the hell? I guess it just got loosened. I don't know. You're playing Bloons Tower Defense 6? Have fun. I wasn't too big a fan of Bloons Tower Defense 6 when I played it. It was alright, but not something I was too into. Man, I would love it if we got some more falling stars. Fall. Hit the pillar. Speed this up a bit, you know? Do something. You need help? With what? I mean, the game's super self-explanatory. I don't think you need anyone to guide you through. You buy the towers to defend against things, and, like, the game gives you hints. Are you too addicted to the game? I mean, a good way to avoid playing too much of a game is just to set limits on how much you can play. Level 123. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the leveling system in that game is. I don't know if that's high or low. Can't stop? Then uninstall it. I don't know. If you're playing the game to a level that you think is a problem, the best thing to do would just be to stop playing it altogether. Like, just cut it off, potentially uninstall the game, even refund it if you really think it's diminishing your life through an addiction. It's very easy to justify addictions. It's not a problem. You failed step 1. First step is recognizing the problem. I mean, as long as you're having fun with the game and it's not diminishing your ability to enjoy life and whatnot, not cutting into your other things, I don't think it's too much of an issue. You're just playing the game and having fun. A lot of people playing video games are hesitant to admit that they have an addiction problem with things, though. It's a fairly frequent issue with a lot of gamers who are addicted to video games and incapable of stopping themselves from playing, which then can severely impact a lot of their interpersonal relationships and life. What up, Bismarck? You said shit happens. Clobo said spell happens. Expelliarmus like Harry Potter? Harry Potter? Bismarck said that happened when I made a mistake and I asked him to spell happens. And then he said happens and I was like LMFAO PP. And Bismarck said that's a low for you. That's like my level. Okay, hold on a second. I'm sorry, what the hell is happening in here?
Hi. Okay, so I made a mistake in Payday.
Okay.
And Bismarck's like, stuff happens, and I asked him to spell happens, and then I laughed at it. And
well, hold on, there's
like,
inconsistencies in your story. Clobo, you said Bismarck said stuff happens. Bismarck said he said shit happens. I wasn't
paying attention.
These details aren't lining up.
I
That's not
played
the
the
important
fifth.
part of the story.
Okay.
Yeah, but I spelled happens, and then when I spelled like I went HAPPENS, and Clover was like haha PP. It's just very low for Clover, isn't it? Like I feel like
And
I
then
feel like
Bismarck
that's
said,
something
"That's
I
my
would do.
level,"
Yeah.
Have
implying
you
that
two
my level
tried
was.
taking deep breaths, punching a pillow, you know, hanging out with other people?
What are you
Well, we're
talking
trying to
about?
rob a casino,
Like
Yeah,
at
so
robbing a
recess, one of
casino.
you could go play on the swings and the other one could go to like the merry-go-round?
we're not at recess. We're robbing a bank or a
Robbing a
casino.
casino. You wouldn't get it. You're like too
There were different
nice.
Foursquare things. Like one of you could play Foursquare over here, the other one could play Foursquare on the other one.
No, I have to beat Clover at Foursquare. It's
Sorbet,
gotta happen.
play Roblox. I'll be on
I just
stream
heard
while the
Bismarck
game
said he
idles.
wants to beat a child.
Yeah. Listen, I
Play a Roblox obby on stream? No.
Yeah,
play
like,
Roblox Hobby on stream.
and then yeah, why not? Do a
You should
parkour tower with viewers.
you you should put up a poll for multiplayer games, and then when everybody inevitably votes on those games, it doesn't show up. You should like I don't know, play them anyways. I'm sorry. It's
No,
really
I'm just
bad.
going to like ban everyone that votes for something and then doesn't show up to play it.
Listen, I
Or, like
voted for
time them
Rainbow
out for a
Six,
week.
Yeah, and then you were like done before I could join you, and I'm upset.
I told you
Did
when
you
it would
get
happen.
Bismarck? Bismarck,
I
did you
was
get
at work.
Heartbreaker yet?
No, I'm doing it right now. No, I'm not doing it
Okay,
right now.
well just
I'll
try to
go get
resolve your
reception.
issues.
Go get
You
reception.
two
I can
literal
get it.
children. Okay. back to this. You had some falling stars? He X3. So what? He. That's what you just said, Bismarck. He. He. You recently hit level 100, now you're at 106. Please, you can't stop laughing. You're the one that said he X3. Let me catch my breathe? What is your breathe? Is that your breathe? I mean, breath? There's no E in breath. Oh, there's one E, but there's not two E's. In breath? The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild? Bismarck is crying, laughing in VC because of he. Bismarck. Bismarck. Is there something wrong with he?
I told you.
Bismarck. Bismarck. I want you to explain yourself. What is so funny about... You're the one that said he. You said that. You said he.
Survey, stop making him laugh. He's gonna get caught. We're trying to rob the casino.
Are you playing Don't Get Caught? You're playing Don't Get Caught?
We're playing Payday 2.
Oh my god.
Bismarck. Please, for the love of God, just he.
Please, I'm begging you, have mercy.
This is the least funny thing I've ever heard. The funniest part is that Bismarck is laughing so much.
Seek help. Seek help.
Okay.
He's dying. He might have died. It's entirely possible. You're level 123 in black bordered 5 maps. What does black bordering a map mean? Like you do all the challenges on it or something? I played Balloons a couple times and then just got bored of it. It's a pain in the ass. I imagine, yeah. Especially a lot of more difficult maps. Thank you for not killing me, XOXO. That sounds like something Diana would say, Bismarck. I think you two are the same person. Like, Diana said something that sounded like you would say, and then you said something that sounded like something Diana would say, so, like, the line there is being blurred. What are your thoughts on Spearmaster, Bismarck? You're so much cooler than Diana. You don't have INV in Rain Escape. Spearmaster is not that cool? Wow, that is an L opinion. What a loser. Do not do that? Do not do what? You'll, like, bribe for INV? You would bribe somebody, like, you would pay somebody actual money? Just to get a slug cat in a Roblox, a small Roblox mini game for Rain World? That you just threatened to bribe somebody for INV. Put him up or shut up. You said don't do it or else you're going to bribe somebody for INV. I want to see you do this. You threatened. You put it up. Are you going to do it or not? Or you go around just making claims that you're not willing to back up? You said you would bribe somebody. That implies payment. Who are you paying? How much are you paying them? You will bribe someone for INV if you say Diana is cooler than I am because Diana has INV. But I did say that. What do you mean if I said that? I did say that. You're going to bribe someone? Who are you going to bribe? You wouldn't bribe anyone? Okay, so you're full of empty threats. You plead the fifth? Okay, I am going to handcuff you and drag you screaming and crying to a different country where the Fifth Amendment doesn't exist. This is what Guantanamo Bay is for. What did you just walk into? If you cuff me, I won't be crying. He, colon, 3. What the fuck did you just say? If you cuff me, I won't be crying. He, colon, 3. Bismarck. Bismarck. I am disappointed in you. I don't think words can describe my feelings correctly. In the immense wave of displeasure that I felt upon reading those words, I would suggest that you seek psychiatric care at the idea that a officer beating you, throwing you in handcuffs in the back of an unmarked van, driving you across the Mexican border, and continuing to beat you while handcuffed would not lead to crying or seemingly to you to be a desirable outcome, as that is most certainly any sane person would consider that to be a rather undesirable thing. That is why I'm disappointed in you. I am disappointed in your lack of self-preservation. I am disappointed in your strange horniness at the prospect of being handcuffed, to the point of, in an offhand comment, referring to it in a way that implies a positive sense. Sometimes we all have to make sacrifices to get what we want. What is it that you want, Bismarck? What is it that you want? That's Sequit X3. That is a Sequit. That it is a Sequit. Can we get that written down? I want somebody to write that, get that in writing. I would like you to say that I, Bismarck, knows greater than tilde less than. Don't write, don't my Sequit X greater than tilde less than. So I don't think you understand the situation. The gravity of what's happening here. I will remind you that anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you desire this to be read back on the judge's stand? In front of your family, your friends, your lawyer? Anyone, your employer, potentially? As they sit here, as you're on trial, and they read out these are you some weird masochist that likes being embarrassed in front of people? You want that to happen? Because that's going to happen. That is the fate that you are unfolding for yourself. You can't get out of it at this point. You can only stop yourself from embarrassing yourself further. Do you have anything to say for yourself? No? Well, that's not possible. You just said that... You said no, which means you had something to say for yourself because you said no. I'm just going to remind you that... Does your family... Severe thunderstorm warning. Huh. That's not ideal. Hold on, I'll be back in a sec. Hope I don't, like, lose power. Actually move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Damaging winds and continuous cloud-to-ground lightning is occurring with this storm. Move indoors immediately. Okay, be indoors, but, like, am I gonna lose power? Hold on. The court is going to take a quick recess. Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm. Okay. It's not here yet, but it'll probably be the end of the stream after Vortex Pillar, in case I lose power. Bismarck says Thunderstorm. Do you ever look in the mirror and reflect on the person you are and the choices that you made to reach where you are now? How does riding the squid in Shoreline work? You pick them up and then you just point a direction and it goes in that direction. Like, you hold a direction and you move it. Like, it moves in the direction you hold. They're attracted to fruit, so if you throw fruit in the water, you can attract them to a spot to pick up. Yeah, you do all the time. And you, after those reflections, decided to continue saying things like Thunderstorm and Sequit. Those on top of things like the music right now? This is the Dead Cells soundtrack. We're almost done with the pillar. Did a falling star hit it? I feel like a falling star hit it. I don't remember being that close to dead. Oh, I'm tired. Okay. We're 4,500. 300 damage a minute. About 15 minutes left. Not too bad at all. Oh, I recognize this song. I don't remember which part it's from. Is this the clock tower? No, clock tower is the TikTok-y one. It's one of the later-ish regions, though. I think. I could just look. Castle. Oh, it's the castle. Can I play Hollow Knight music? This stream's only going to be going on for another, like, 15 or so minutes. I don't want to change to something else. Once we kill this pillar, that'll be up. The big well ball? What? Man, I wanted to go play dinosaur mini golf tonight too. Now I can't because this is thunderstorm. I have to go play dinosaur mini golf some other time. That's sad. I like dinosaur mini golf. The dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are cool. I like dinosaurs a lot. When that star fell on the pillar. Shave off a bit of time. Like Dinosaurs 2, what's your favorite? I am not going to disclose that information to you. That is private. I don't tell strangers. Your favorite dinosaur is like going around telling people your mother's maiden name or the street you grew up on or the name of your first pet. That's the security question I use for like everything. Okay, 3,500. Plenty of falling stars falling, just not on the pillar. Honestly, the strat for killing like the solar pillar and the nebula pillar would probably just be to AFK, while falling stars take care of it. Bet I like the Stegosaurus. What do you bet? What are you betting? Winner's choice? That doesn't make any sense. What are you betting? Everything? What does that mean? You're all in? What are you putting all in? What are you betting? Oh, this is spooky. I don't like this. Whatever you want, I don't fucking know. I'm sorry, how can I expect you to honor the terms of a bet if you don't even know what you're betting? Favorite dinosaurs are Velociraptor because they're fast as fuck. That's cool. If I win, I am letting you select what you would like. Bismarck, this isn't Burger King. Tell me what you bet. Or not. Call off the bet. Bismarck just left because you asked him what the fuck he was doing with this dinosaur bet. A payment equal in amount to 1 tariff. Could you describe that in a way that doesn't sound like you're from 1803? One tax? Okay, based on what? One tax of what? Taxes are percentages. And they vary based on state and item. one payment of $5. Paid how? In Chuck E. Cheese tokens. Bismarck, I don't go to Chuck E. Cheese. Who the fuck do you think I am? I ain't gonna do my boy Charles like that. Who even goes to Chuck E. Cheese anymore? Children? I don't know. Chuck E. Cheese has, like, a pizza in the frozen pizza section of my grocery store. $5 worth of Tic Tacs? I have not had a Tic Tac in years. You're a Tic Tac, Bismarck. You're tiny. You're short. Like 5'2". Tic Tac Muck. Bismack. Big Back. You're 5'10"? No, you're not. You're molding, Bismarck. You're molding. What's wrong with 5'6"? It's very appropriate height. That's not Bismarck's height. He's like 5'2". You're not that short? Yes, you are. Proof? $5'11"? Mount Everest compared to Bismarck. How would you like proof? I don't know. You still haven't done the thing you were supposed to do because you didn't kill Sliver of Straw in time. You know, you could type out entire sentences. You don't have to, like, break them out into multiple messages. All right, 1320. 4th of July is tomorrow. You guys got any plans, those of you in the US? Or did you already do your celebrations during the weekend, or just not doing much at all? I imagine you probably have the day off, right, Bismarck? I have a friend who's in the military in Virginia. That's not friend, cousin. That's why he's visiting this weekend. Beat up champ, you got this? Thanks, shut up, simp. I don't really do very much on the 4th of July. I was gonna relax, not do much, really feel kind of isolated. That's fair. 4th of July is a weird holiday anyway. Just kind of like... I don't like fireworks, so I'm not down for going to fireworks shows, and I feel like it's like fireworks and cookouts. Not a huge fan of either. Probably just stream. I mean, the weather, I don't lose power from this thunderstorm tonight. Be awkward. Small chance something like a tornado happens. Be a little inconvenient. Fireworks are matter overrated. I don't like how loud they are. Back when I was in Baltimore at university, they would set off fireworks on campus. I lived close to campus, and it would be so fucking loud. Just like pounding fireworks noises like all throughout the night, and I hated it. I don't like loud noises. And especially like you're watching fireworks with other people, they never shut the fuck up. Fireworks shows are just non-stop streams going, people going, ooh, ah, ooh, woo. Like, I came here to watch fireworks, not listen to you just like give expressions of exclamation. What, Bismarck? I said ooh. Like, when people see fireworks, they go ooh. And woo. Like, you know, they go woo, a firework, you know? Ooh, woo. You know? Ooh, woo, there's a firework. Okay. Final search the vortex pillar here. No, I said ooh woo. No, I said ooh woo. I didn't say ooh woo. You know, ah, ooh woo. You know, all the fireworks shows, everyone goes, ah, ooh woo. You go, ah, ooh, woo, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, woo, ah, ooh, woo. You know? That's why I don't like going to fireworks shows. It's just a non-stop stream of that. Why did you just say my name, Bismarck? That is true. Yeah, my gecko did not like fireworks shows at all. Why do you keep saying my name? I was always afraid she would drop her tail. Because they were loud. What else would you like me to say? You're sorry? Okay. Last pixel down. What are you sorry for, Bismarck? Okay. And vortex down. Let's pick this stuff up, and then we'll, be done for the day. $62 fragments is a good haul. Okay. Vortex down. Vortex probably the fastest pillar. Vortex was 3 hours. I'm probably gonna do the rest of the pillars off stream. Yeah. We'll see if I lose power. I don't know how bad the thunderstorm's gonna be. 106, 57, 53. Bye, everyone.